Anyway, first of all, congratulations, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, so hard to make films. Good for you. And if you're like us, you've been putting your films into film festivals, and it's so disheartening to get the little black and so nice to get that little green star and all of that. So huge congrats for that. Totally know what that's like. So anyway, I'm Susan Kelejian. This is
Jolene Harrington.
Yeah, we're OVATE Studios. We started as a theater company, and it's morphed into
Multimedia.
yeah,
That's what we're calling it.
yeah,
We it's kind of been evolving as we go along here.
yeah.
You're gonna kind of talk about.
Well, we're older,
Older.
and I just call myself like an old emerging artist in the business because we both started in the late 80s, early 90s, and then we both got out of the film business, but we didn't know each other then. We kind of had parallel lives for a little while.
And we're still discovering. You used to go there. I used to go there.
Yeah, all through Hollywood today. We were in another film festival this morning, and that's where we got attacked by Spider-Man on like Hollywood Boulevard. We live in the oak trees, okay? First of all, we live in Ojai, and that's up the road. And
But we grew up
in
down here,
yeah.
Hollywood, LA.
So we met on stage, and then we formed a company a couple of years later, and then somebody tracked me down with one of my plays and said, when are you gonna write this into a movie? And I said, I'm never fucking going back to Hollywood again, bitches.
We had the conversation.
And then 3 months later, I was in Hollywood, and now it's been 2 years, and it's with a vengeance. And last year, when it was your inaugural, right?
It was.
Yeah.
tchFest season 1.
So love tchFest. Love tchFest. So Macy and Fernanda and Mercedes they were just so kind, and we had a great time, and I kind of harassed her, and then we became friends, and it was great, after we won.
That was kind of a rapid fire intro.
Yeah,
to how
then we made a film.
There were a few steps in between that, and I think it's kind of important, if you don't mind my interjecting here. It was not a straight line, I think, is the point I'm trying to make, by any stretch of the imagination, and I suspect that's probably true for a lot of you folks out there. We actually started out as performers since we were very young, and then evolved into writers and directors, and I went into teaching. Susan was directing quite a bit, and then when we met, we realized we had some shared disappointments, some shared frustrations, and also some shared dreams. And I think most importantly, we had a process that was similar in terms of how we like to create. And neither one of us put the other one in a box. Like, you're going to be the director and I'm going to be the producer. But we all kind of just pooled our ideas.
Right.
The first big project that we did was the Teen Conservatory, because we realized that they don't teach craft anymore the way that we did when we were a kid. Growing up and that became the kind of the genesis for this holistic way of approaching any storytelling method, whether it's
So like in filmmaking, we did a mentorship program so we could have half our crew kind of being brought up and mentored by professionals that were in the business, and that was really important to us. And not only that our film had LGBTQIA tones, and so everybody on crew either was in it or was an ally. We had the mentorship program, and then a safe set. We had safe set.
Susan's also a practicing therapist by day. Psychotherapist. And she doesn't brag about that, but I think that really informs how well you've always handled sets, whether it's on stage or in a workshop.
I mean, who's been? It's really hard with the lights, but can you raise your hands to tell me, like, have you been on a set or theater, film, TV, commercials, anywhere in any capacity that you felt that was kind of emotionally unsafe?
I'm not surprised.
Seriously? Yeah, no, that's not a surprise, right? So we sometimes go in as creatives and we're already energetically sensitive, and a lot of us are neurodiverse, and then we get hit with some really toxic people, right? I mean, that's been my experience, which is what took me out of the business 30 years ago. And then being older and
You know,
not a
it's-
target. It's different.
It's
right?
different being a young woman in her 20s and 30s trying to make it taken seriously, whether it's performing or writing or directing or producing it. You know that. It's gotten a ton better, a ton, mostly because there's women decision makers now in the business, which there really were very, very few back in the day when we were doing it. I mean, both of us have literally been told, oh, I'd make this film if it starred a man. Can you imagine saying that today? I mean, it's not.
Well, but, you know, that still happens.
It still happens, but not to the level. I mean, at least to
Right.
get some vibe and attitude if
Right.
you go to it.
I think also like when it was late '80s, it was shoulder pad era, and I feel like the women executives were so masculine that they were even sometimes harder and more critical on the other females trying to, come up.
Because you had to have masculine energy in order
Yeah.
to be successful in those days.
And now I feel like we're kind of really helping and organically open, and that's what our experience was. So we did a kind of a shoestring, but
Yeah.
15,000,
All in.
a short film that started as a stage play that went to Kiev, Ukraine during all of it, and they were getting bombed, and that young lady, 17-year-old girl, directed it, and she said, "This is what's keeping me alive." And so I said to Jolene, "Can we just make this into a film?" And that's what he, she, us.
And when
I'm just looking
oh,
behind.
there's stuff there. When Susan says, "I think I want to do fill in the blank," I usually just say, "Okay, let's do it." And one thing I'm going to brag on you a little. Is that okay?
Yeah.
One thing I learned from Susan that's really changed my perspective since I started. I used to be very much. I had to have a roadmap to everything, and I had to be goal-oriented, and this is how I'm going to do everything. And I couldn't start the creative process until I knew where it was going. And early on in our creative relationship, I just started trusting and surrendering to her. And I think I'm actually getting kind of like emotional about this. I think it's so important to have someone in your life that you can trust on that level. And we were doing Furious, which is a stage play that's a documentary working on right now. Claire, you remember when we were gathering the initial crew around for creating this device theater project, Susan's laying it out there, and there was just glaze. They didn't get it. They didn't see where she was going because it was unconventional. And it was like, I understand Susan's vision. I trust Susan's vision. Please, we're asking you to hold space for us. We're asking you to buy in to this, and let's just see where it goes. And that process-oriented has just completely shifted everything that I do.
It's like a metaphor for life. So who likes to live in the process and not be in control? And then who likes to be totally in control? And no, I'm serious. Like who likes it laid out?
But I've stopped.
That's about half, right? And then who likes winging? So there's a few wingers. And then if you find the middle, that's the sweet spot, right? So you can have, I'm going to have a little bit of this roadmap, and then I inside of the box I can play, or not a box, but maybe a sphere that
Or like when we're working on something that you're directing, there'll be a time in the process where she says, "Okay, I need to hand this over to you now. I need to be in director's space." I'm like, "Okay, great, you do this. I'll just tell you when I need you for something," and it lets you fully embrace that.
And then we got lucky and had kind of a hot TV star. Do you all know a show called Wentworth from Australia? Prison.
Yay, somebody recognizes it.
Yeah,
there we go. That's the way to do it.
One of the actresses on that show said yes to the project, and it really kind of elevated it. So that was super nice. And
the second thing that happened is our co-star.
That's where we're going to go to right now.
Right now, go you.
So I really wanted a trans man to play a trans man, and we were having trouble calling friends and saying, who do you know, and the people that might have come out weren't available, so we called up Black Sheep Casting, and we were really pleasantly surprised. We got
really
over
good.
a dozen really good talent.
Really good.
And
we were shocked.
And hired Emmett Preciado, and he's so fabulous.
And
So,
such
yeah.
a sweetheart and nice human. And
And
talk about the song, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No. This is what we do. And so Susan said she'd like him to write the theme song. And one of our other members, my brother's a music composer, I want to talk to you later, done a lot of scoring and this and that, and she said, and your brother's going to produce the song for him. And they did. It was just a wonderful collaborative process, and towards the end you'll hear the undercredit song. But it was so important to let him, I mean, it was important to him as a human, as a creator, to bring that side out and tell his story.
He said he was kind of like dying on the vine in LA, and then we hired him, and he had been kind of stagnant in the music business for a couple years and lost like his lyrics and kind of just the passion to write. And so I said, well, you know, here's the wand of permission, and he wrote the song, and now he's like making the music video for it.
I'm so excited. It came out really
So
well.
I think as filmmakers and creatives that we also are catalysts for a lot of people's lives, and that it doesn't have to like stay on our shoulders, and that we have that responsibility, and yet it can happen in that way if we're intentional with our work, you know?
Very, very much so. And I think, you know, we're young old filmmakers.
I say old emerging
filmmakers. So
it's like this old thing coming out of an egg, you know?
But I would say we've got a lot of experience doing stuff, putting things together, assembling teams, getting the idea, making it happen, networking, all that stuff. If you're in theater for any length of time, you know, that's kind of inevitable, or teaching or throwing a workshop together. But I think one of the key elements about driving that forward is being open to what you can bring in, which is something that we're, again, very intentional about. We want this to happen now. How is it going to happen? Let me see, let me be open, let me talk to people, let me vocalize, let me put it out there, let me tag it on a Facebook post, whatever. And things generally, we've been very, very fortunate, but also on the flip side, be open to saying no to things. Like we had in the middle of our pre-production, we changed film locations. And that was a big shift, and you had to make changes to the script and template.
Yes.
Yes. She had us just looking like very uncomfortable. It was fantastic for it in the end, but it was like, okay, well, I'll have to change this, I have to do this.
I think also if you didn't learn how to pivot during COVID, you didn't really get it from COVID. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, we learned how to pivot in our lives, at least I did, and so it helped, you know, in this business. And I didn't think I was ever going back, and I don't know if Jolene thought she was, but in the 2 years, so, you know, it's just exploded, which now I want to segue into, does anybody use Stage 32 for any reason?
Yep.
Like, just say yes, because I can't see you. So it gets a lot of flack, right? Because you have to kind of pay to play in there or to pitch and blah, blah, blah. And what I feel like living almost 2 hours away is I'd rather pay the $40 to pitch than drive in my car to LA ever again, right? So I'm really like specific on who I pitch to or who I talk to, and I've cut a few deals through that, and I've really connected. And one, I was just chatting, and a man chimed in, and now going forward, so he has a distribution company, and I'm a consultant for him, and we've worked together, and he's hired me to write scripts, and I'm networking like crazy. So that leads me to, now you've done your film, maybe this is your first, maybe it's your 17th. What do you, I'm gonna ask, and you just blurt it out. What do you do with your film when it's done? And then before you answer that, think, why did I make the film? Because I didn't make the film for maybe some of the reasons you guys did. So why did you make your film, and what are you gonna do with it? Anybody?
Please don't shout all at once. Only one person. I'm gonna start pointing at you, former classroom teacher, is gonna start calling names.
Why did you make your film? Somebody knows that answer.
Is there, okay, who's a film director in this? Okay, young lady.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Ari.
Hi, Ari.
I made my film because I had to.
Right,
I
answer.
needed to do that. And the next step for me is using it as a proof of concept. So that is running a few different lines when it's going to festival circuit, seeing who we can pick up. The other is approaching different producers and if they're interested in that, and inviting them to screenings or sending them a private video link and whatnot. But just using it as a way to get momentum for copyright.
Right?
Yeah, that's, a lot of shorts are POCs, don't you think? Like, a lot of people do that, and some people are just like, I never made a film and I want to, and let's just try it, right? But There's, do you have an idea of what you're gonna do after it? Like, are you gonna put it on Wii Shorts or?
I think in the end, probably just distribute it on YouTube or
Mhm.
something to make it really out there and use it more as part of the crowd equity campaign to get people behind the feature.
Great. So you've got that mapped out. That's great. Does anybody, well,
I've never done it before, but that's
Yeah.
the idea.
I mean, that's brilliant, you know? Follow that line, I would say.
Unless anybody here has $3 million.
I mean, so that you all know, I'm not talking to, you know, you guys all know that the industry is just like insane, right? Like, it's just the weirdest it's ever been. So, did anybody make the film with no idea what they were gonna do after they finished? And that's like not to shame anybody, but it's just like, I had to make a film, and now what?
I see a nod over there. Okay, speak up, don't be shy.
My home isn't in the festival, so I don't.
That's okay.
You are allowed to be a part of it. You jump in here, anybody. Yeah, I mean, it was my thesis film for college, and I kind of made it more to see if I was able to do so at all. But I do think I proved it to myself that I do not really have time to distribute it at all either.
But it served its purpose for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's
Cool.
gotten into like festivals, so that's something. Not this one.
Good for you.
Anybody else have like the why and then what you wanna do, or are you confused about what you can do afterwards? Because we're all at different levels, so, yes.
Just wanted to help people, just wanted to go out there to have somebody excited. I don't know, as a young queer person, film saved me, so trying to have that visual out there. So wherever it goes from there, awesome, but, just trying to get it to audiences in the festival, so thank you again for having these festivals.
Nice. It's a lot of work putting these things on, trust me.
Yeah, amazing.
Wonderful. I mean, and that, I think I could say for each one of you, there's a little bit of that in what we do, whether it's this one or the other projects. There's always something. We also have had a commitment to some kind of social relevance to every project we do, whether it's a classic or a new show. It's just, these times are hard, and I think having that voice, being able to express yourself artistically without reservation, that's the power of the art, right? It's pretty cool.
That's why we did it.
That's why we do it. That's why
We
we
also
do
have an actor that was in our film here, who, where is she?
She's second level.
Oh, Lynn. Let's talk
No,
about
she is.
multi-generational.
She's above
Go
my
ahead,
head.
Talk.
Okay, so one of the other core concepts that we had when we started OVATE was that we would be a multi-generational company, because we know that there are people of a certain age that still have a shit ton to give, a ton of creativity and energy and passion, and we have young people that know a lot of things about the world right now that we're still figuring out, and also want mentorship. And so we've always included that. One of our firm supporters for a lot of our projects, Lynn, where are you? I can't, Claire, where's Lynn?
She's right here.
I don't even see. There you are. Okay, the lights are interesting. There,
Yeah.
raise your hand so people know who we're talking about. Lynn is a most amazing human, a mentor, a prize-winning sculptor who's just been incredibly supportive and inspirational for us. And
She had female nudes at the Vatican.
yeah.
Just saying, that's the caliber.
This is somebody.
Okay.
And she's just been incredibly supportive of us. And long story endless, I want to do something with her in this film, Susan said.
So to honor our wisdom keepers, I wrote in a piece for her in the opening of our film. And that's part of our giving back too, is that we recognize people that have given to us in our community, that held us, and that we aspire to be artists, even if it's not in the same discipline. That Lynn is a master at what she does, both in her artistic endeavors and as a human being. And so we honor her by putting her in one of the opening shots, and
She never acted before, but
she was brilliant.
Sorry.
So that's another thing of like, who are you using? Why are you using them? You know, those kind of questions.
And artistically, that idea was very organic, and it came kind of late, but it
Yeah,
required a whole other set.
yeah.
But it was worth it, because to me, it's one of the most powerful moments.
And then lastly, you're gonna get a lot of, like, for low budget features and, you know, independent stuff. We always worry about the money, like how are we gonna get financed? And how many times do I have to ask my mother? And, you know, like, and she's not even alive, you know, and so
My
it's
friends
like-
are no longer returning my texts.
So, you know, there's a lot of that stress too that goes into independent filmmaking, as you know, and crowdfunding doesn't always work, and so it's just, you know, that it's a lot. Wow, I had a point and I really derailed.
You did, and I wish I could bring you back, but I have no idea where you were headed.
It's really good.
You were headed to distribution.
Well, I mean, that's always the question.
I don't think you're gonna get your return.
Yeah, and I want to just say one thing about distribution. Again, as I said, my brother's in the music business, which has changed like insanely dramatically, and he's been doing professional since he was 16. And there are the old avenues are dead, but there are new avenues, and that's what I was going to say about distribution.
Mm-hmm.
The old avenues are stalled, overburdened, not as effective as they used to be. But luckily, we are developing new avenues. Believe it or not, YouTube had one of the biggest monetary investments recently, and they are gunning for that streaming film business, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
More opportunities are going to emerge. You guys and us, the community, are creating new streaming opportunities. Our friend Armin is brainstorming a streaming / distribution company. So that's where I think the future's going, and we need to keep our eyes on it.
Also, Macy, I'll just leave with you, or you can give out my phone number if anybody's like, who are those weirdos? And
OVATE.org is
because
our website.
and I am in conjunction with the distribution company, right? So it's 40 Legacy, and they're kind of boutique, but mostly features, and then shorts. You know, they're just like hundreds of places. Do you know? You go like this if you know that. There's places to put your film so your friends can see it and all. What else do we have to talk about? Because there's another person and they want to get awards.
You guys have any questions? You're all awesome. If we could be of any support, reach out to us, ovate.org, OVATE.org, that's us. And just know that we support you as fellow artists.